Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from anywhere in the world that you're joining us today. My name is Mahka Moeen, and I've had the pleasure and honor to be serving in the leadership role in the Entrepreneurship and Strategy IG in the past 3 years. This is our annual business meeting that we'll hold today. Typically, the business meeting was scheduled during the conference period. However, to increase inclusivity and reaching out to as many as members as possible who may not necessarily attend the conference, SMS office has decided to hold these virtually this year. And in that spirit, in addition to those of you who are joining us today live, we'll have an audience who will watch this video, the recorded video of this later. So anytime that we pose a question, for those of you who are watching the video later, please feel free to reach out to us. We're interested to hear from you as well. So with this, the agenda for today's meeting is to cover a couple of activities that the IG has been pursuing in the past year, look at our preview of the conference, SMS London, as well as recognizing the dedicated effort of volunteers, reviewers, everybody who really helps our IG stay afloat. And then we would like to hear from you in terms of suggestions, feedback that you have for us and in general for the SMS as we consider ourselves as that like connector to the main offices as well. So let's just start with what our IG represents. So our IG, the Entrepreneurship and Strategy, focuses on entrepreneurial behavior, both in new ventures and established organizations. So we're really focused on those entrepreneurial strategies, and this theme that previous leaders of the IG have put together in collaboration with the SMS office really sheds light on the activities that we would like we offer for members and the type of conference and scholarly research that our members typically follow. Now, in terms of the governance of the IG, as you may know, the common structure across all IGs is that there are 3 people at the top of IG. I serve as the chair, Elena as program chair, and Gary as associate program chair. These are 3-year terms, and there is a rolling process in that after my term ends this year, Elena will move to the position of chair, Gary to program chair, and we'll have an incoming person who will join as the associate program chair. Typically, the division of labor that SMS has suggested to us is that the incoming associate program chair will be responsible for pre-conference activities. These typically include the workshops that we run before the conference, as well as the panels. The program chair often runs the conference activities. This is undoubtedly the most challenging, time-consuming, and requires a lot of effort and attention on behalf of the program chair, because they receive all the submissions that comes at the time of deadline for the conference, go through them, really manage the entire review process in a very, very short time duration. And then the wonderful program that you see on the SMS website for our London program is really the output of that process. Historically, the chair role oversaw some of these activities and ran the election, this process. In the past 2 years, given the interest of our members to have more and more of pre-conference activities or activities beyond the conference, these historical roles that I described to you stand strongly, but we have added a lot of more experimental efforts that all 3 of us and before us, Tina Roscon and Asim Kaul, who were the leadership role, helped with initiating that. Now we also have 3 reps: Sandy Yu, Florence Sonore, Colleen Cunningham, Jack Spirtley, Tim Oz, and Kiara Spina. And you may be wondering why I do not have their names alphabetically, or the orders may show randomly. The reason is that each of them help with the 3 activities that I helped. So I was trying to replicate the structure, an organizational structure here. Sandy and I have been working on Beyond the Conference activities for an Insight series, more on them in a few seconds. Florence Sonora has been helping Elena with the program activities, and our 4 other reps been working Gary with the pre-conference activities that Gary will talk about this moment. But if we could all express our gratitude to these 6 wonderful reps who are working us with this moment. I appreciate. I don't know whether you would like to unmute yourself and give them a round of applause, or we'll use our digital tools to show that. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you to all of you. So beyond the governance structure, I also want to highlight some of our membership stats and trends for the IG. For those of you who are here, currently we have 1,098 members. This is the 2021 numbers. The 2020 numbers are still in the process as we're in the middle of the year, so I did not report them. As you see here in the very last column, the first row, our membership represents 35% of the entire SMS membership. This is wonderful news. This is a healthy division with respect to these numbers, and it also shows the vibrancy of entrepreneurship as what used to be an emerging field within the strategy area, and now really a lot of the focal questions that we address covers that. Elena, I think in her remarks, will cover the numbers with respect to conference submission. And in that regard, we're on top of, I think we have the largest number of submissions for the conference as well. Just to dissect some of these numbers and really look at where our memberships come from, 36% of new members of SMS, consistent with the total number of membership, choose entrepreneurship and strategy as their primary IG. So this counts as 228 of our members. From the members who have let their membership lapse and they're coming after 1 year or 4 years of pause, 43% of them are choosing our IG, and renewals from past year were these continuous like renewal memberships, 772 of them, the 34% of SMS total membership. So these numbers overall show a very strong and healthy trend with respect to the membership. Just looking through the evolutionary patterns here, I have like 5 years of data recorded, and you see like in 2020 and 2019, we might have had a little bit of a drop in terms of numbers. So it's great, excellent to see the numbers be back. Indeed, after a year of a pandemic and a lot of budget cuts in different schools, the conference being virtual, this is great to know that we came back very, very strongly. The other, digging deeper into these evolutionary patterns, here I have the comparison of 2021 numbers compared to 2020 stats. And what you'll see is that we had growth in terms of our membership numbers. The total number of members that we had has increased 11%, but when we compare it to the overall SMS membership, SMS saw a 5% increase in the number of members. So it looks like that we're moving at a higher acceleration compared to the SMS. And you do see these across all the categories, even though SMS had 11% growth in their new members, our IG had 28%, for example. So as much as these numbers are wonderful and we would like to celebrate the IG's achievement, I think this was the opportunity that shows the very strong commitment of us to maintain these numbers, offer what our members expect of us, and hear from them to be really able to sustain these numbers forward and the responsibility that comes with it. So the other thing that I wanted to highlight is that, as you remember when I was introducing the governance structure of the IG, I alluded that in the past few years, we've moved really beyond considering our mission, the SMS conference organization. We have really, as we heard from our members over the years, I think Justin Webb ran a survey of membership a couple of years ago when he was the he was serving as the IG chair, that we heard from our members that those 3 days of the conference are wonderful days, but they do want us to be active on the other 360 days too. So to that end, we have started a couple of programs. One of them is the ENS Insights webinars. We're now in the 3rd year of that program. This year in 2022, with collaboration with the SMS office, we have started virtual circles. I'm going to talk about these two in a second. And in the past, we've also ran summer seminar series for 2 years, which focused on presentations of junior faculty who received feedback from a discussant and from attendees, and doctoral development sessions. We ran them for 1 year in 2021 with the help of student reps and volunteers who really suggested what type of sessions they would like to see. And then we let them really run the show. They did a wonderful job. With the expansion of many other general SMS activities, and perhaps with the slowing down of virtual activities, the attention that now has to be devoted to both in-person teaching, in-person classes, we saw a decline in terms of how these two events were going. So we put a pause on the summer seminar series this year, but we're looking forward to hearing your suggestions and thoughts with respect to what could be a good replacement for it. And Gary and Colleen have been thinking about some alternatives that we'll discuss momentarily. So for the Insights webinars, those of you who might have attended these know these are keynote speeches from senior scholars who cover one area of research. So far, before 2022, we have had 11 of those. This year, we have already hosted 2 webinars. David Shu talked about organizing for innovation in May, and Olaf Sorensen talked about the spatial ecology of entrepreneurship in June. And then we have 2 more events scheduled for fall. Mary Tripsis and Alfonso Gambardella will talk about their own research. So across these sessions are often very well attended, but something I would like to direct your attention to is how popular they are actually on our YouTube channel, and how folks really appreciate these videos. Across the 11 webinars that are now posted on the SMS YouTube channel, we have had more than 3,600 views for all videos, and only 500 plus of them come from the 2 that we just posted in the past 2 months from David and Olaf's presentation. So a little bit of a back of the envelope calculation really means that 1/3 of our members have watched all of these videos, all the 11 that were posted on the channel. So this seems to be a great content that's created and being appreciated by the members. So we look forward to continuing these, and we would appreciate your suggestions with respect to how they may work better or what pivots may work. The other initiative that I said we've just started, this is in collaboration with the SMS office, and Amber Robin, who is the leader of this initiative, is here with us today. It's really the circle, and I know there has been a lot of this has been a vague emails that some members are getting. So I want to demystify it a little bit here with some analogies and things that we know. The circle is really a virtual discussion board. And think about it this way: we all get our Academy of Management listserv daily digest emails, ways that come. The circle serves the same function. However, in addition to that, it allows for live and immediate discussions on the platform. So you do not have to wait for a moderator to approve something, another day passes, and then you post another response, and the response goes to everyone. This could be a lot more directed, a lot more targeted to large focus. So our plan for the circle is that I just launched a few days ago, is to continue to have our IG announcements and activities posted there. But since this is really an open platform, we do rely on your entrepreneurial strategies to see how is it that you find this discussion board and circle to be helpful to you. So after my presentation is finished, I'm going to actually post the link in the chat for those of you who are interested to join. You'll see here on the screen, this is how the view looks, and we already have a good number of members who have joined. In addition to this, currently we are managing the circle ourselves to learn about how it works and what type of content is elevated more. But if you're interested in becoming our circle champion and serve as a volunteer in this role, please do let us know. We think that would be great to get everybody's help here. So going back to these membership initiative activities, as you saw, like 2 of them are ongoing and continuing. 2 of them we've put a hold and pause on them. But throughout this session and after our presentations end, we really welcome your suggestions for what else, what other non-conference activities you would like to volunteer to pursue, or you would like the leadership to explore in the future. And not to put you all on the spot now, I'm putting this suggestion request here, and we'll come back to it after the presentation in our open Q&A. As a final description of what the IG does, our IG is also sponsoring an extension in Oxford the day before the conference. If you're interested to join, please also consider this. So as I wrap up my presentation, another big thanks to Colleen, Jackson, Sandy, as they are our outgoing reps. They've served our division in a dedicated, thoughtful manner in the past 2 years, and you'll see the fruit of their efforts come through towards the end of the year. If our session was to be held closer to December, we could have listed everything that they finished doing, but I have no doubt, absolute trust in they're doing. So another thanks to them. But as they are stepping down, we'll have elections starting November 1 in order to be able to fill their positions for another 2 years of service. So if you're interested in volunteering, please submit the SMS election survey before September 1. We'll learn from the SMS office with respect to how they'll aggregate these results and share them with us. But we would very much welcome and appreciate your engagement having here. So with this, I'm going to pass it to Gary, who'll talk about our pre-conference activities, and then to Elena. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Marika. This was amazing. And I think you've done it all without even stopping to breathe. This is unbelievable. So as you can see, there's been a lot going on, and we are very happy with kind of the ability to service the community. And again, a big thanks to the reps that have been instrumental in driving a lot of this forward. One of the points I'd like to make is that this is a great opportunity for those of you who are interested in engaging with people, senior and junior in our community, as well as just shaping the nature of the conversation. It's really a great opportunity to become a rep. And I see all of our existing reps seems to be quite happy and they're in good shape. So, you know, this is really something that you'd like to be part of. What I wanted to talk about is basically the upcoming conference and the IG, the interest group specific activities. We might have forgotten, but the way the conference has traditionally been structured is around kind of open events that Elena has been leading, and we'll talk about in a second. On the weekend, the Saturday and Sunday, there are more interest group related activities. And I just wanted to kind of remind you or expose you to all the good stuff that we have coming up. So let me try and share my screen over here. Good. Okay, so you should be able, oh, sorry, now I'm not sure what you're seeing. Don't look at what you're looking. Hold on, give me 1 second here. Clearly, I've lost my Zoom mojo. Give me 1 second. Okay, perfect, good. So Saturday, not night, but Saturday is coming back, and we have a great set of workshops that are coming up. The first one, or the morning one, the workshops are structured as a morning and afternoon ones. The morning one is Strategies for Open World, the Junior Scholar Paper Development Workshop, which is a great opportunity for junior scholars to engage. This is an effort that is co-sponsored by a number of interest groups and was led by Jax. Thank you very much for putting this together. I believe we have about almost 24 faculty from some of the top universities who will be part of that. And so this is a great opportunity. This is also something that you might want to share with your colleagues and so on and so forth. Then in the afternoon, we have another workshop. This one is titled Experiments in Entrepreneurship and Strategy Development Workshop. And as the name suggests, it kind of takes a very focused view on the use of experiments, which have become really popular, and I think mainly also in the context of entrepreneurship over the last couple of years. This was led by Chiara and has really a great set of people that have been driving research using experiments in the field of entrepreneurship. Now, just as a reminder, two reminders. The first one is that to the extent that there is a registration to these workshops, the deadline is in 5 days. Now I couldn't actually, and this is a comment that I've shared with the thing, it wasn't clear. The link for registration was a little bit slow, so that's something for us to look at, but registration should be coming up quite close. And I very much encourage you to kind of consider these and advertise these two workshops that will take place on the Saturday. On the Sunday, we have 3 interest group sessions. And so we have 3 sessions that will be running starting in the earlier in the morning, later in the morning, and then in the afternoon. Each interest group has 3 sessions. So these sessions are running in parallel. There's a lot of competition for your attention, but I'm very happy to say that between Tim and Chiara, we have set up some really great sessions that I'd like to just take a second and discuss. The first one is Entrepreneurship for Social Good, which will involve Daniel, Matt, Olenka, and Maka, and we'll basically talk about the intersection of entrepreneurship and how, to what extent does it actually drive purpose beyond just financial returns. The second session is a bit of an experiment. What we're doing there, this is not a session that is populated by academic panelists. Rather, we are bringing a number of practitioners, including the head of Europe, Middle East, and Africa for Shopify, which is a very large platform for entrepreneurs, as well as 2 individuals who have built businesses using this platform to explore the extent to which platforms such as Shopify that allow you to set up stores without writing code, to what extent do they facilitate entrepreneurial activity and inclusion. So it's a very different session in terms of the type of the panelists, but we hope that it will stimulate you both to think about your research ideas as well as new contexts. And then in the afternoon session, we, in the afternoon session, we'll revisit again experimentation and scaling within the context of entrepreneurial firm. And we have a number of panelists that have single-handedly been driving research using this context. And so this will really kind of help you understand, take stock of the way in which experimentation has been used within our field, as well as what are some of the opportunities and questions that might be best served using this approach. So this is just a little bit of a teaser, if you wish, in terms of the pre-conference activities. Just one thing that I would like to do before turning to Elena is just to kind of give you also a glimpse into the future. And this might be just useful to remind yourself. We have the next conference that is coming up for which I'll have the pleasure of being the program chair, which means lots of work, but Elena has promised to help. It has a very long title. I think might be the longest title. It's realigning strategy, governance, resource in turbulent times. But we think that that's actually exactly the kind of topic that members of our interest group can actually comment substantially on. And so keep that in mind and think about interesting papers and sessions or activities that we can set up in the context of that of next year conference. With that, I believe I've concluded my part, and I'll turn over the baton to Elena. Thank you very much.
All right, can you see my slides? Maka, Gary, can you see my slides? Awesome.
Yes, we can.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, depending on where you are in the world. Thank you for coming to our business meeting. We are very happy to see you here, especially after this big Academy of Management conferences that many people are still coming back from. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the program. Gary already talked about the pre-conference activities, which are amazing this year. Gary prepared, Gary and our reps prepared wonderful panels and workshops for you. So let me start with saying a few words about the conference itself. The theme for this year for the London conference is Innovative Strategies for an Open World. And indeed, through the pandemic, even though we were physically more constrained to where we are, the world, I believe, and as many of SMS members believe, has become more open because we've introduced so many virtual opportunities to communicate with each other around the world, that we could connect effectively with many people, not just at our schools, but around the globe.
Elena. If you're on the next slide, I think it did not move.
Okay, so let me check. So do you see just my head slide?
I think maybe what we're seeing, maybe you're sharing the PowerPoint window as opposed to the presentation window.
Okay, let me start again. Let me stop sharing and reshare again into the following. I'll start. Okay, I'll start point and let me share my screen again. Okay, let's try again.
This might be again, Ellen, this might be again the...
So do you see, because now I should be in my PowerPoint, I should be in the presenter mode. Do you see? No. Okay. Let me give it another try. Okay. What about now?
Great, it's working.
Can you see them moving?
Perfect. Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Okay, sorry, folks. Technology sometimes, even in the open world, technology doesn't always cooperate well. So I was talking about the theme of this conference. Now let me give you some stats for the conference. So we were the #1 IG by the number of submissions this year, and this is among 18 tracks at the conference. We received 185 submissions, 12% of all conference submissions. So that's a lot. And just for the comparison, the average number of submissions per track is 74. So we're like 2.5 times the number of average submissions. This is an amazing number, especially given that people still have this pandemic fatigue and many are still concerned about traveling. In this year, the conference is first in Europe, which usually has fewer submissions traditionally than in the United States. And second, this is a completely face-to-face conference. We don't have a virtual component unlike the Academy. And having so many submissions is just amazing. 52% of submissions were accepted. And if you look at the number of sessions, we are also the #1 IG by the number of sessions. We have 18 paper and common ground sessions and 3 panels, and we also co-sponsor a handful of other sessions with other IGs. So our numbers are fantastic this year. Thank you to all of you, to those of you who helped with the submissions, to those of you who submitted papers, to those of you who reviewed. So let me now give you a quick preview of what to expect in terms of the conference program. We roughly grouped conference sessions for our IG into 5 groups. So for those of you who are interested in the questions of founders and founding teams, we prepared 3 amazing sessions on founders, personalities, and behaviors, on human capital and startups, and on co-founders and employees. So please make sure you check those. For those of you who are interested in social issues and entrepreneurship, we have sessions on immigrant entrepreneurs, minorities and ethnic groups in entrepreneurship, and on gender and entrepreneurship. For those of you who are interested in venture financing, we have 3 great sessions on 2 on venture financing and 1 on entrepreneurial financing under uncertainty. For those of you who are interested in entrepreneur support systems, such as which can range from accelerators to parent firms and peer networks, we have 5 great sessions: 1 on parent firm spinouts and hybrid entrepreneurs, 1 on peer interactions and networks, 1 on entrepreneurial ecosystem, 1 on startup accelerators and outside directors, and the final 1 on technology and entrepreneurship. And finally, those of you who do work in venture development might be interested in the following 4 sessions: on resource management and entrepreneurship, entrepreneurial growth and scaling, entrepreneurial failures and new beginning, and entrepreneurial learning and experimentation. So please make sure that you check those sessions, especially the ones that overlap with your own interest. And if you can, please spread the word about our program to our colleagues and friends. We are looking forward to seeing you at the sessions. As Maka did, we've done a lot of work putting the sessions together, putting this program together for you. And we hope that you will enjoy it. With this, I want to really thank our reviewers who reviewed the papers for you so that we were able to create those sessions. We invited 226 reviewers. 176 and 73 reviewers accepted our invitations, and 154 reviewers submitted. So almost 90% of reviewers who accepted invitations to submit actually did the work and submitted their reviews back. And again, this is a great number. Thank you so much to all of you who reviewed for us, especially in that busy time of the year when many of you are teaching and being busy with other activities at your schools. Thank you so much. And our special thanks, of course, this year goes to our outgoing IG chair, Maka. Maka went through this role in very difficult time. She started when the pandemic just happened and the conference went completely to virtual. She had to go through all the turbulence and then had to guide me and then Gary as well through all those activities and how to navigate them well. Maka, thank you so much for keeping our IG alive and growing. Thank you for helping all of us. Thank you for putting together a great program last year. And we will miss you, but we hope to still see you a lot in our activities and being actively engaged. Thank you so much. Okay, and with this, I am going to pass it back to Maka.
Thank you, Elena, for your very, very kind last slide. I'm honored to have the opportunity to serve in this position and flattered about the comments. This is really the engagement of our members, the 100+ reviewers who collaborate and help us make it happen. And I think I know that you and Gary share this feeling that we're here just to facilitate first, and also happy to be able to serve in that role. So with these fascinating presentations and the upcoming SMS London conference, I guess I'll have another final plug in that we'll have our SMS IG social during the allocated time slot at the conference. So for those of you who are attending, we look forward to seeing you again and continuing that conversation there. And for those of you who are not able to attend the conference, this is still ongoing, and Amber will confirm the details with us in the next coming weeks. We will be recording a number of sessions and we'll make it available later for viewing of those who can't come. In particular, all of the 3 panels that Gary described will be recorded for watching later. So with this, I'm going to open it up to discussion, Q&A. Anything that you would like to share with us, with other members? Or any final thoughts from Elena, Gary, and I know from our reps, Jax, Tim, and Colin are here today. Our previous division chairs, Asim and Martin, are here. So along with others, we would love to hear your thoughts.
Hi, so I just want to say just a huge thank you to Marka, to Gary, to Elena, to all the reps at large. I think you guys are the first set of people who've had to deal with both doing this in person and keeping the online stuff going, right? Like some of us have done one or the other, but nobody's really done both. And I think it's been amazing, the kind of effort and the kind of initiative you folks have put in. And I know just doing one half of that was hard. So I can only imagine how hard that's been. And particularly, I think special shout out to Marka for, I think, all her leadership over the past couple of years. So let's just give them all one big final round of applause. Thank you all. And thank you to the reps at large again. I know I'm not going to go through this, but I know, again, I know it's a lot of work. And we hope to see you continue to be kind of, mostly the reps at large are not done yet, right? We're going to come after you and kind of haunt you until you actually do the leadership role. So we look forward to that.
No, thank you, Asim, for building the foundations.
And again, this is also a call out to everyone here. First of all, a big thanks. Working with Marka, I can just see the amount of effort she put in, as well as the rest of the team. So this is phenomenal. We are not planning on another pandemic for the next couple of years. So this is a great time for you to apply for various positions within the IG. It hopefully will not be as much work.
And please help Gary next year reviewing for the conference. This year, I received fantastic, very high quality reviews, which helped me tremendously in creating the program. Please do this again next year for Gary. This is a great help for the program chair.
Oh, this is all wonderful. Perhaps I'll go back to the call for questions and suggestions that I had during the presentation in terms of what else would you like to see the IG pursue. As you saw, we put a hold on a couple of initiatives that we saw declining patterns, but like great ideas emerge out of our collaborative brainstorming in these sessions. So if you have any thoughts on those dimensions or some of the other sessions that I said, we put a pause on them, but you felt there are some aspects of them that we can revive and you found valuable, we would love to hear those thoughts as well. Jax, please.
I'm curious if someone could speak a little more about the doctoral sessions that were held virtually and how successful they were and how valuable they would be to continue in some form.
Sure. I think Wafa, I saw her here at the beginning of the session. She's no longer here. We recruited 4 volunteers, 4 doctoral student reps who came up with 2 types of workshops. The first one was pitching your entrepreneurship research. That doctoral students got together, had 1-minute elevator pitch to faculty and got feedback about the format of their pitch. So this was not a research-oriented workshop. Instead, it was about, okay, if you're meeting people in Zoom sessions, how will you handle that? The second workshop that they suggested was called the Entrepreneurship Research Lab, which was more around tables with doctoral students pairing up with each other to suggest the type of research projects that they were working on, data sets that they had, in the hope that these roundtables could spark and inspire collaborations between them. Things like, I have this data, do you have any questions that can be addressed by that data? Let us get together. And we ran 2 of each with roughly like 50 attendees across each category of workshop. And they ended in May 2021. As we moved into late 2021 and a seamless year in terms of SMS-wide activities, SMS started its own doctoral student events, SMS-wide for all members. And what we observed was a significant overlap in terms of what we were doing and what the SMS office was doing in general. So we didn't do anything. However, we have already recruited volunteers to serve as our student reps, and I've had conversations with them in terms of what type of events they're interested. In the 4 months until the end of the year, we may revive, we may do something if we find an appropriate niche. It's just that it had been on a pause with that respect. But I would love to hear your reaction, Jax, or others, in terms of what do you think would be valuable? What is the unique value proposition? Because these 2 suggestions in terms of doing this really came from the doctoral students themselves. And myself, Elena, and Pinar Ozkan just attended those meetings and listened, and honestly felt proud to have these new doctoral students join the membership and activities. So that's where we stand.
More than anything, I'm glad to hear that the SMS, that it's moving up to the SMS level. Given how much focus SMS has on just the annual meeting, it seems like for doctoral students to sort of be able to branch beyond their own institutions, this is a great structure for that. So I hadn't known about the SMS level work, and I think that it's definitely an opportunity where, first, especially within IG, where students can talk to people who have more aligned interests, there seems like there's a lot of potential along kind of the research side of those topics for students to talk to someone with aligned interest outside of their own institution. So I think that part is really, really cool, and I'm glad to see that it didn't just disappear with I want to say with the pandemic, but I can't really say that yet. But yeah,
I will add just that, especially for the doctoral students who might be on this meeting, or I guess we're recording it as well, we do now have, just to follow up on what Marka was saying, we do now have a SMS PhD circle, right? It's a separate circle meant exclusively for PhD students. We have a set of champions, including, I think, some of the people who were involved in the entrepreneurship thing. And so they are, I'm not sure they really, I think they're still figuring out exactly what they want to do. So I think that, but, I think if you are a PhD student, we strongly encourage you to sign up for the circle, and then you keep getting notification of all the activities. I do think there's some reason to think about, I don't think that should supersede the entrepreneurship internal stuff, just because, as Jax was saying, I think there may be some value to doing stuff that's more entrepreneurship focused. But we do have a set of activities for PhD students that are SMS wide, and most of those are meant to be outside the conference itself. So if you are a PhD student, please sign up, and please sign up for the entrepreneurship and strategy circle as well. I mean, the idea here is, as Marka was saying, just have a discussion board that's active, but it's also going to become the primary way in which we make information available about all upcoming programs, etc., to our membership. So if you are interested in entrepreneurship programming or any IG programming, I strongly encourage you to be on the circle for that IG.
And perhaps one plugin, one decision that we made for the previous round of doctoral student sessions was that we were primarily thinking about it in terms of attracting a new membership and introducing them to the IG. So we did not restrict those activities to current IG members. We did not even restrict it to current SMS members. So any doctoral student could attend these events, and that could have been one reason for their good reception at that time.
Okay, while we are waiting for other questions, let me say there was one thing in the chat while you were presenting. Amy asked about reminders of seminars and webinars that we are holding. Normally, if you haven't opted out of those communications, you should be receiving reminders, but we will make double sure in the fall that reminders are being sent in advance to all our registered members about the upcoming events. But on your side, just make sure they don't go into the spam folder, because we know those reminders are important. We have very busy schedules these days, and with teaching and everything, reminders are very helpful. And thank you to Amy for bringing this up. And folks, by the way, as I will be replacing Marco as a chair next year, if anything comes up, if you have any thoughts, any suggestions, especially after the conferences, how we can improve, what else we can do for our members, what other initiatives could be helpful, both on the PhD level, on the faculty level, please feel free to reach to me, reach to Gary. If you're more comfortable, reach to whoever is going to be our next associate program chair. And we are always open to the suggestions. We will be happy to consider them.
Yes, I echo Elena's points in another round of call for questions, suggestions, and feedback. Oh.
Can I ask one question? Hi, I'm the PhD candidate in Cambridge, first year. I still have a long way to go. My question is about not only I do the entrepreneurship strategy research, but also myself as a startup in the accelerator in Cambridge. So I was just wondering, like, if there are some specific groups targeting for this academic related entrepreneurship candidate. I know that the Strategic Entrepreneurship Journal will have a special issue on the academic entrepreneurship like in 2 years later. I'm just wondering if there are more like supporting resources for this, academic startup experiences apart from the pure strategy, entrepreneurship for strategy research. Thanks so much.
Yeah, sure. I'll have a first cut at your question, Deacon, and then I'll welcome others' suggestions as well. So at this moment, it's my understanding that the Entrepreneurship IG is that overarching theme of covering all sorts of entrepreneurship related activities at the SMS. The SMS office has reached out to program chairs. I think Elena is actively involved in this process of revising keywords for the conference and SMS activities, and she can explain more to that end. And the second thing that the SMS office has started recently is that to expand their focus to what they call ABC. Academics, business people, and consultants. And this has been the historical mission of the Strategic Management Society when it was founded. Over the years, the B and C elements were downplayed and A really took front and center, but across a variety of activities, for example, the sessions that were organized in SMS Milan with collaboration of companies in the form of particular roundtables or even the panel, the second panel that Gary suggested, the no-code entrepreneurship, we are aspiring to increase that collaboration and engagement. So those would be the initiatives that I would suggest you keep an eye for. And to the extent that this is a member-run institution, SMS really relies on its members. This could be a suggestion where you reach out to the office and actually volunteer to spearhead it.
Yeah, thanks so much. I will definitely look out for that. Thanks so much.
Yeah, and I just, if you allow me, I just want to echo what Maka just mentioned, which is to the extent that you can think about a format and a topic that would be interesting and would span both these worlds in a way that would be fruitful for people who are engaging in it, please feel free to reach out to us, to me. I'm more than happy to explore that. Maybe also a related plug to both the workshop and the other Sunday interest group session. The workshop on experimentation and the session on experimentation will basically focus on how do people structure activities, you might want to call them accelerators, with specific aim of enhancing the learning and experiences of the startups that are going through them. So you might find that immediately relevant to some of the questions you've asked.
Yeah, thanks so much.
And also on the program, we have 2 sessions that might be of interest to you. One on learning and experimentation and ventures, and the other one devoted specifically to accelerators. And I mean, accelerators are also a topic which is dear and near to me as I'm doing my research there. And if you have any suggestions or questions, feel free to reach out to me directly and I'll be happy to chat further.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
Thank you. I don't see any other hands raised. So I guess this can be the formal end of the business meeting. Elena, Gary, do you have anything that's been missing you would like to share, or be good?
No, I just want to thank everyone for coming here. And again, thanks goes to our reps and PhD reps, and of course, Maka, to you for organizing this and doing all this great work for the IG.
You're here.
Yeah. Now, thank you to all for joining today. For those of you who are watching the video, to our members, to all volunteers, and to the leadership, Gary, Elena, and our 6 reps. Everybody been doing wonderful work, keeping the division alive and healthy. So with this, I look forward to seeing you in London. For those of you who are coming, the wonderful set of sessions that are put together, the workshops, panels, or social activities that we'll have. And I guess we have 2 London-based representatives here, Gary and Colleen, who will share restaurant suggestions and activities with everyone for Beyond the Conference events. And as we keep up with our virtual seminars over the fall semester, I hope that we see you there as well. Again, if you have any suggestions, thoughts, or feedback, please feel free to reach to either of us or to the MSMS office, and they'll direct the suggestions and thoughts to us. Thank you again all for joining. Hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye-bye.